We're on a journey to Woodbury, where I was brought up and went to school, and where I was bar mitzvahed.
So how did your mom and your dad was deceased, but how did your mom end up in Woodbury?
My mother, my grandfather, who I am named after, who had passed away before I was born, he came to the United States in 1920. And my mother and my grandmother didn't come over till about 1923, because he came over to get enough money to bring them over. He only had enough for him to come. Then he sent for them, and they got as far as Liverpool, England, and they didn't have enough money to get to the United States. So my mother and my grandmother lived in Liverpool and worked in a cigar factory, and she was about 12 years old, and she couldn't speak anything but Yiddish. And my mother could speak Yiddish and Russian. And then when they got enough money, my grandfather was in Pittsburgh. And when they were in Pittsburgh, when my grandmother and my mother got there, they had 2 children. My grandmother and my grandfather had 2 children, Harry and Izzy. Then they moved different places. My grandfather was like a baker. He would start a bread route. My mother would deliver bread in a horse and wagon in the coal regions. And they ended up in Camden. My father lived in Philadelphia. He came over with his stepfather, who was a rabbi, and my grandmother. And between them, they had 15 children. From first marriage, second marriage, and they had 4 together. And they were sort of, my mother and my father were sort of like distant relations. They came from the same shuttle.
They were second cousins, I think.
Second cousins.
That's so weird.
And then they got married in Camden at the Talmud Torah house on Hess Avenue, and that's where Selma, Janice, and I were brought up. And in that house, 3-bedroom house with 1 bathroom, was us 3 kids, my mother and father, my grandmother, and my Uncle Izzy. It was right here.
Where this
Here was
Cardinal
my
Real
father's
Estate.
store.
This one right here, the Cardinal Real Estate.
And this was his store before he built that one.
What was the store for?
Right there.
Also grocery store.
And there that was his.
Where Cardinal Real Estate was. That was his.
And this used to be Bob's Diner.
The nut shop, where it says? Right here?
No, we passed. You went to by too fast, Marty. You'll have to take it. We'll have to show you on the way back. All right? You'll have to show them back because you went by too fast and you.
The bloopers can just be Mama yelling at Papa.
Okay. His house that he lived on is couple coming
Okay,
to
I'm
it.
going to show you. Du Bois. The next one is Hess.
Don't get so excited.
This is Hess Avenue. This is Hess Avenue.
He was at 30.
Mr. Marks used to live in this house. The Needers used to live in this house.
I think they enclosed the porch, Marty.
Where's
Gray
33?
one, the gray house here. They enclosed the porch.
Yeah. Here's where I was born and raised.
This
right
one?
there. 33
33.
Hess Avenue.
Look better now than when you were there.
There was their driveway.
Wow.
They bought that house for $6,000.
Who, your parents?
Yeah.
Look how it looks nice.
This used to be an empty lot here. And we were playing ball in the street. And I jumped on ran in there and I cut my foot. There was a broken bottle.
Right where this
And
house
the
is?
Grassos lived there. Do you hear voices on this?
Yeah, go.
This is where I used to live 70 years ago. With my mother, my father, Selma and Janice, Uncle Lizzie, and my grandma.
So how is it? Does it look different at all?
Yes, they did a lot. It used to be a screened-in porch, and in the summertime we didn't have air conditioning. We all used to sleep on the porch to keep cool. Kids,
Yeah.
I used to walk when I went to junior high and high school. Used to walk from there. I used to walk from there all the way here. Sometimes I'd ride my bicycle. We'd ride all the way, walk here. Here's where I went to junior high and high school. Right there.
You're a nice one. And this, which is the bank that gave us our first bank loan? It was on the corner here. There, that one. Right, in Cooper? It's called Gloucester County Administrative Building, but that's where the bank was. Do you remember,
Right.
Marty? There's a store called Laura Smith.
No, the bank was over there.
Where the
On the other side.
Gloucester County Administrative Office.
Yeah, right. It used to be a bank.
Yeah, I know.
And that's where Harris Cotton had the hotel there.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't look it's What is it?
Yep, there's
Yeah.
Silver's.
Yeah, it's the one with the not handmade
That little one.
biscotti. The store's empty. There wasn't a restaurant there. Why it's empty?
Right.
The purple?
See where Silver's clothes? Silver's right next to it. Yeah, the purple.
See
That
the
was
purple? That was my mother's big store.
bookstore.
And that
she
was
unbelievable.
Kresge's 5 and 10.
And Center Street. Isn't that where the synagogue was?
Like, what kind of people lived here?
What kind of people live there, Marty? It's empty, that store now.
Like, was it a lot of Jewish people?
Not that
or-
many Jewish
There was 100 families
that were Jewish.
that belonged to the synagogue.
And the rest were Gentile. But they were nice people. They were good. It was a nice area.
Here it is. Here's where I was bar mitzvahed. Right here.
Do you want to take a picture?
See that?
See
That's
that Israel
Israel.
on the top?
Looks like they're moving stuff.
And when
Want to go in there?
Yeah.
There's any visible signs of
So my understanding is that this building was sold to the Knights of Columbus.
Right.
And then after the Knights of Columbus, it was sold to Westwood Church of Christ.
Okay.
And I bought it from Westwood Church of Christ. Okay, and it's been my art studio since 1997.
You did a nice job with it.
You know, the Knights of Columbus had covered over the Beth Israel sign.
Right.
And this building always looked like a schoolhouse. And as soon as I took that sign down, because it was rotten anyway, and re-exposed, you know, the writing, the architecture just came right back together, and everybody knew what it was.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's interesting.
In
What
the
kind of
new
art is it?
synagogue,
I mean, is it just a studio?
it came from here, and then the new one they built, there was a plaque on the wall for the people that contribute $100 to build this synagogue, and there was a list of people.
Well, I was at an art show last spring down in Rockville, Maryland, and in my booth, I have a picture of the studio from the outside. And there was a man in my booth, and I could tell that he was excited but also upset. And he came out of the booth and he said, "I have to talk with you." And I said, "Okay." He said, "Now, you own this building?" I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "My grandfather was the rabbi."
Oh, God.
And he told me the story of how his grandfather had come from Russia and he had studied in Brooklyn, and then he had been assigned this congregation. And that he had grown up here playing in this building, and he described the whole building to me. So I knew he was for real, but it was this great experience.
His name was probably Wise, Rabbi Wise.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah. So I've met a number of people traveling around the country with my artwork over the years that know this building and have been members of the congregation, and that's been pretty fun.
At the time, they had 100 Jewish families that belonged, and all along Broad Street there was a lot of merchants that were Jewish.
Right.
And the most famous was the Blesnak family. They built hundreds and hundreds of apartments and all, and they used to keep the synagogue going with their money.
Right. Well, have you seen the, you know, there's, every town there seems to have a history book now that's available. There are pictures of this building.
Yeah, well, I think you saw that one.
Yeah, I went to the library.
Right.
I saw it was that, and I bought the book at the...
So did I, just because I actually own the building. So.
Fishing, Marty.
This is where we went ice skating, just for the video.